Welcome everyone. My name's Vida and this is Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast, a podcast where we discuss current news and developments happening in the cricket world with a special focus on Sri Lanka cricket. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host Sohan. How are you doing, Bora?
Good, Vida. How are you keeping?
I'm very good, Bora. Very excited about the T20 World Cup and very optimistic about Sri Lanka's chances after a successful qualifying campaign and a victory last night. I'm sure you are excited about our chances too, Bora.
Yeah, pretty much. First hurdle was to get through the qualifying stages, and yesterday's result was just another drive-in result that we needed. So very excited to follow the rest of the tournament because we seem to be turning the tables. We'll dive in more throughout this program where we are hoping to touch base.
I don't think we'll talk anything other than the T20 World Cup in this episode. So let's get right into it. Where should we start? I think we should start with our victory against Bangladesh. Bora.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was a massive result for us. Watching the game, the first half of the game didn't go according, and then start to the second half wasn't the best as well. But we kept finding ways to, keep turning around, and we've seen what Asalanka made through, and then Bhanuka on his birthday. End of the day, we finished the game with an over to spare also. So it's just a massive result. Watching the game at the start, it was like, oh, what's going on here? Are we going into those old habits or something that we've seen the last few 6-7 months? Is that coming back? I guess everyone would have had that feeling.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, first of all, I was surprised with our team selection as well, Bora. I mean, Matheesh Deekshana was sidelined because of a side strain, and we were all thinking about a spinner joining the team. But to everyone's surprise, here comes Bhanuka Fernando, and he took the new ball. I mean, he took a wicket, but
yeah,
I was surprised. That was a big surprise for me.
I think it looked like a left field choice. You could see it in the way the game spanned out. From a captaincy point of view, and Dasun not having the right control of how the bowlers were going to be spread out, because we all thought it would have been a straight swap. If Mahesh wasn't fit, the one person coming in would have been Akila Dhananjaya.
Yeah.
Maybe a Dhananjaya De Silva, but then that meant Dhananjaya will have to bat at a number 8, and then he'll probably bowl the 2 overs at max and sneak in a third. Whereas with Akila, at least you could bank, or you'll give him that 4 over spell. And I know Akila is down on confidence, but he is a similar type of bowler. So that would have been the easier choice. But left field choice when the ball imbalance, just to talk the scenarios, would have been Bhanuka coming in and do a bowl in the bulk with the new ball.
Power play overs.
Yeah, and then spread that 4 overs we lost with Mahesh, with 2 for Dasun and 2 for Bhanuka. But we saw it slightly spiral with the bowling plans, because it was a hot day in Sharjah. Bangladesh was on top. Things seemed to be getting away from us. You could see some of the emotions being involved in the boys, and I think the decision making was slightly not as clear. I mean, the good thing is we've managed to win. When you have a strong management or leadership structure, these are the discussions they'll be having when you're reviewing the game, having that chat with Dasun saying, okay, we could have handled these situations slightly better. A lot of it is coming into a main topic that I think T20 format of cricket is a lot of a data-driven game, if that makes sense. Unlike the longer formats of the 50 over to the test cricket, where you can make more instinct decisions, or, try to roll the dice, see a small scenario, if it will work, whether it will peel off, and if it pulls off, works well. But if it doesn't, you have time to pull it back in. But in T20 cricket, you don't have that luxury of trying it out. Both captains made the mistake. I mean, we hear the word matchups that we like talking about
plans.
Those matchups has to be with a certain skill set as well. Like the best example I can share is Charit Asalanka bowling off spin, presuming that Shakib Al Hasan slightly weaker is a left hand, he wouldn't go as hard. But we're talking about a part-time spinner who hasn't bowled as much coming up against the world's best all-rounder. And Shakib Al Hasan knew this was a half, like he's the 6th, 7th bowler and he needed to cash in rather than let that guy settle in and sneak in, or he actually took him on. Like the first ball, he gave room and he went over cover, which high risk shot, but he backed himself to take more runs off him. And that resulted in us going behind the 8th ball pretty much. But if we looked at what we could have done better bowling wise, we could have, because we knew number one, Mahesh is not playing. So that meant our wicket taking bowler is Vanidu Hasaranga. Yep. So we could have handled him. Yeah, we needed to make him the attacking wicket taking bowling option rather than him being the containing option, is how I saw it. We could have used him as maybe that 5th or 6th over in the power play. See, Vanidu was under the pump because he came in to bowl at I think it's the 9th or 10th over. He was very late into his spell. And by that time, the batsmen were on top. But credit to Mushfiqur Rahim. I mean, the thing is, he seems to be scoring a lot against Sri Lanka as well. But his slog sweeps, it's a very high-risk shot. But I have never seen him miss it or rarely seen him miss hit those as well. So he seems to be on top of that shot.
He has a clear plan against each bowler, isn't it, Para?
Yeah, and he came in with a lot of pressure into this game as well. I think talk in the media about Bangladesh top 3 not doing the job for them because Tamim Iqbal's out, he's not playing. And then Shakib, Mushfiqur and Mahmudullah are the main players. So they started off well. And the thing is that I love reading the press conference pre-match as well as during the games, and Mushfiqur was like, yep, 170, that's it, we've sealed this kind of.
He was very confident.
He was. But credit to the Sri Lankan guys, we pulled it off. And moving back into the Sri Lankan side of the batting, we seem to be, I know we're saying we are not firing at the top, which seems to be so far in this tournament, the top order hasn't fired apart from Pakistan, what they did against India yesterday night, and then Bangladesh's opener scoring the runs. So, but coming back into the Sri Lankan batting, we've had 350s played from 3 different batsmen. So at least it's spreading the workload a bit, which argues well. I mean, Avishka, I'd like to see him score more in international T20 before we discuss. It's a good move, him there.
Yeah.
But I just have a feeling he's still learning that spot.
He's been getting runs for the last few games, so he was bound to get a failure, so it happened in this game. Going back to our bowling, for us to go ahead in this tournament, our bowling has to carry the load, right? And getting the sides out or keeping them to the score, whatever we score. I think this was the first time our bowling attack was under pressure, wasn't it? Like every other game we played in the last couple of months, we had power play wickets and it's either Lahiru or Dushmantha will come and break a partnership. T20 cricket is a momentum game, and those 2 no balls bowled by Chamira that tipped the game towards Bangladesh. It's very hard to pull it back after that. Once it's gone, it's very hard to pull it back. So this is what we are expecting in the upcoming games.
Spot on when you talked about, our bowling attack so far seems to be a very strong attack, bringing in the results. Couple of factors. I think number one, the first proper or strong batting order we came across as well, and a good batting track. I think everyone was surprised with Binura's inclusion, mainly seeing the pitch, how it looked like. So it was kind of a question mark there, trying to justify why it was. And then another fact I could think of is our games have been, a lot of it has been played in the night when it's slightly cooler. So now this game was the first game of the day. So And also, I mean, there was a lot of noise there for the Bangladeshi supporters as well.
Mm.
So the boys getting control of their emotions. I mean, you could see everyone's trying their best. Heat of the moment. Few things when things are not going, and exactly right. That double no ball was a
Yeah.
massive swing in their favor. I am a firm believer when you're winning, it's easier to adjust and make the mistakes or talk about it more
Mm.
because you don't feel as dragged down. So
Yeah.
when the guys are having these performance discussions with the team, it's a lot easier to listen and change because you got that motivation levels.
Yeah.
But you also got to understand, like, I like going back to the leadership because that's where things are driven at. Dasun, for him, is also learning on the job.
Yeah.
It's a captaincy is a very unique role. You
Mm.
don't like, I mean, in professional worlds or apart from like going into a normal, like if you go into work, you have time to train under someone. Whereas
Yeah.
we haven't, I think Dasun hasn't had that as much. So, but I don't know whether Dasun has been captain through the junior teams to the first class structures or has that structures. But those are the on the job trainings that guys can afford to. I mean, we talk
Yeah.
about the great captains of Sri Lanka, Arjuna, Mahela. They've been strong captains through their junior ranks up towards when they come up. Like they know that some stage they will captain the country.
Yeah.
That's the captaincy qualities that we look for in leaders. I mean, more strong leaders have been there that we know of, but those are the two standouts that we talk about. Best thing that happened for Dasuni is getting the likes of, the Mahelas coming into the camp to
Mm.
touch base about these aspects. So I'm sure they'll have a chat and say, yep, we could have handled it better. The glaring result was from the bowling point of view was Vanidu and Chamikara, Karunaratna had remained in 1 over each.
Yeah.
So that I think got out of hand slightly. But they'll, I think, reassess, regroup, come back with a better plan.
No, no, you're right. I mean, talking about captains, he's doing a job that nobody wanted, So I think he's doing a good job given the
Yeah.
circumstances. And as you said, he's learning on the job. He's getting better by the game. So he seems to get the support from the boys. That's the main thing, isn't it? That everyone's backing him, and a little bit of panic, but he seemed to have it under control. And we'll have to talk about batting, Barad. This is the second time Asalanka has played a match-winning innings. He's very new to international cricket. This is his fifth month in international cricket, and he's showing a lot of maturity for his age. And we were under pressure. I mean, when you look at the group we are in and look at the games we are playing, for me, this was the hardest game because the
Yeah.
pitches suits Bangladesh, and with our spinners, we'll do better against Australia, England, and South Africa.
Yeah, exactly right. I think with the group stage, with all these changes that was happening mid tournament, it resulted in the group we are in getting packed with the full nation teams all in one group
Mm.
fighting for two spots. Conditions wise, matching up against a team, Bangladesh is a very strong team. It's similar to their home conditions. They back themselves in by packing the spin to play on slow tracks and
Mm.
they set it up. It was challenging for us, important points for us because, like I said, if you were to match up against countries who would play in the heat and have to slow, low turning wickets, you back yourself against the likes of an Australia, South Africa, West Indies as well. So it's setting up well for us, and early points is always good because it's very hard to play catch
Yeah.
up points and try to say, yep, we'll sneak through because the pressure keeps building.
Mm.
Um, with batting, I mean, Charit Asalanka has, we both always have spoken highly of him. He's having that positive vibes with him when he's walking. He's got that attitude, the aura that we like to see in a player. He takes the game on, and it was good to see him not slow down as much. He knew when the left arm spinner was on, he backed himself to get the shots, and
Yeah.
it's a very strong shot to play, especially when Kusal just got out, slog sweeping
Yeah,
in the first over itself, and then to get Asalanka coming in and after a while again go hard at the guy again. So, but he knew the thing you see with Charit from the little knocks that he's been playing, he seems to be moving with the ball a lot more freely.
yeah.
It's more of a natural shot.
He knows where his strengths are. So he played
So
five sixes. For me, it felt like if it's in his area, he'll
yeah,
just back himself to hit it for a four or a six.
it was refreshing to watch. I mean,
Mm.
we hear it saying it's a refreshing look with this team in the commentary boxes with who's covering the matches. It actually is a refreshing look the way they're playing.
Yeah,
They look like they can go up. I mean, we would have folded a lot of times in the past with such a target, but we kept at it. Charit Asalanka's good thing is he seems to be striking at a good tempo always. It's not like he starts
mm,
at really slow, but he's actually keeping up the strike rate, if not getting better, and moves along. So it puts less pressure on the team. Like the guys like Pathum, Nisank, and them, they can still settle down. Overall, I'm pretty happy. I mean, Bhanuka, we know how strong he hits. It's just the start of an innings that he's been finding it difficult that, they're not scoring runs pretty much at the start. It's either zero and then he kicks off. But
yeah.
he seems to, when it mattered for us, he kicked it off. And that's a sign that we want in a T20 tournament, that one guy can get one win aside for the team
Mm,
and another guy can do it. Vanidu did it for us in the game before.
mm,
Charit did it here. We've seen Mahesh Tikshana puts in. So it spread out the workload a bit more. So
mm.
we talked about Avishkar be having to hold the bat in order together because everything's fallen apart. But in international T20, we haven't seen him yet, but we are still bringing home the chocolates with the wins
Mm.
because everyone's around him is performing. This seems to be the batting order we've got, or
Yep.
this is the main mix of batters we've got. So
If Matheesh is fit, other than that, I don't see any other changes to this team, Bora.
not at this stage. Like
Mm.
toss up we have is Dhananjay Disu, and a lot of the time we talk about is he contributes with the ball
With
a
the
bit.
ball.
But
Yeah.
we've covered the bowling at the moment. We don't need a guy coming in to bowl that 2-3 over spell.
Mm.
So again, what Dasun needs to learn is, I think he's doing the change of pace, but he needs to come at a better pace to bowl through. Just coming in at an easier time where he can settle into with the ball. Lahir Kumar and Dushman, it's so good to see. I mean, they are clocking 145 plus.
Every ball.
It's you could see it. I was looking at the Australian fast bowlers. They're also clocking 140, 143, even Pat Cummins, whereas now our guys are 145 plus going there.
The
Yeah, when you
length
clock
of that pitch.
145, the change of pace looks so much harder to deal with.
No, I think I'm excited. I mean, Thursday we are playing against Australia, 28th. Then 30th Saturday we are playing against South Africa. So we're playing an afternoon game against South Africa at 3:30. So
Yeah.
it'll be the same like Bangladesh. Now I'm looking forward to these two games. Then from there we'll see where we're gonna go.
For the boys, I think I'm sure that's what they are planning is get one step at a time. At this
Mm.
moment, let's see. The immediate goal for them is let's try to be in that top two end of the stages when it comes to the knockout stages. So for us to get there, as it stands in the groups, West Indies were got bowled out to a very low score. Australia doesn't seem to be sinking with their top three or their batting sinking in. I mean, the only guy who's been playing cricket for Australia or proper, it's been in sync is Hazelwood, and he seems to be the one who changed the shift in momentum for them. South Africa again struggle, low scores. We don't see a stand. I mean, Pakistan took the game away against India, so they've set the tournament at the real high bar. In our group, we haven't seen that team taking the game like a runaway team at the
No.
moment. So far in the tournament, the top three batters haven't scored as much. So
No.
it's not only a Sri Lankan problem, it seems to be a tournament problem as well. But now that we've just started the group stages and more stronger teams will get opened up to showcase their talent. But India had the strongest batting order, and the top three were right-handers, and Shaheen Afridi blew that open for them. So that's where we are setting up at least slightly better with our batting orders being changed up with the combinations. Exciting times for us. I'm sure. I mean, we haven't had such a good run up of games where everyone's behind the boys at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, we got the best fans, Bara. They're very critical when we are not doing well, but
Yeah,
when we are winning, they back our boys, and especially against Bangladesh, there was a few past incidents, and the whole country was behind the boys.
we needed that win. It was
Oh,
a very
yeah.
important win for us. Mahesh Tikshana, I mean, talking about his injury, we don't know to which extent the side strain is at. Normally, if there's a scan, you hear feedback coming in, whether it's, there are different types of tears
Yeah.
or grades
Yeah.
of tears. So it hasn't gone to that extent. So that's good. And it's hoping it's that recovery stage that gives him that much needed rest. And something which has been used in the football circuit is muscle fatigue. So I don't know whether it's a type of condition like that for a player like
Possibly.
Mahesh as well.
He's been
The
playing
Mexico,
for the last few months. So
yeah. What I was touching base was he must be in the pools, physios, looking after him, monitoring him as he go along. So
the other thing you talked about, we have the form behind us as a team, Bora. That's something other teams don't have. Like they haven't been playing as a team for the last couple of months because of the IPL. Like, there was hardly any cricket.
yeah, spot on. I think it is a telling factor, especially when you're playing in a team environment where you need to understand, work off each other to know what the roles are. So we've had more time together as a unit compared to the other teams. I think Pakistan as well, because of the tour cancellations that has been happening. So they've been grouped together, training together as well.
Yeah.
Everyone else have been spread out.
It shows, isn't it? You can see
Yeah.
the way they're batting and bowling. You can see it's totally
So
different.
So it's tried to get in the units. It comes as more matches are played, but you could
Mhm.
see a slight. I mean, the best example was Australia South Africa match, and number one in the media back in South Africa, they're probably asking where is Faf,
Yeah.
so it's a glaring one. But from Australia's point of view, Mitchell Stark, he opened the bowling for
Yep.
Australia, and he was bowling that length that was just in the slot to be hit, and you could see he doesn't have that workloads behind him. Whereas as soon as Hazelwood came back, he was hitting that. I think it's on the pitch map, it's the 6 to 9 meter mark from the stumps where he was hitting back of a length where they can't drive or get onto it. And he was just in sync because he's played cricket under him.
Yeah, that's where he played.
Yeah.
He was in UAE.
He's conditioned himself really well there. So those are the things we've noticed in teams. And Sri Lankans look also more in sync because we've had more time in match time under us. So
Yeah.
it's a strong group that you're not confirmed till the whole games are going on. Whereas the other group, India, Pakistan, New Zealand, seem to be fighting for two spots
Good spots.
at this stage. We got the like West Indies in our group,
Yeah.
England, South Africa hopefully chokes, and Australia hasn't been strong contenders in T20 World Cricket. So it
Mm.
might work in our favor where we just got to knock one off England and West Indies and we might be there. But I know there is frustrations in the media, or we've seen talking about our top three is not scoring.
Yeah.
But that's just one small problem that we got to fix because everyone else is pulling their weight and getting the results home for us. The T20 tournament or 2014 when Sri Lanka won, we carried, Sangakkara didn't have the best tournament throughout. and
Yeah,
he made a telling contribution in the final. So
final.
we can still manage to go along, but hopefully we get that fixed.
I have a very good feeling about our boys, and I'm backing them to make it to the semi-finals.
Yeah, definitely. I think we talked about more World Cup focus. There was a couple of fan questions or feedback coming through. I was hoping to lead into that.
Yeah,
You're happy to kick that segment on, or
yeah, let's do that. Okay, Bora. The first one is from Rajiv from Colombo. This is an email sent to srilankancricketpodcast at gmail.com. If you have any questions or any comments, you can send them to this email address. He's written, awesome work with the podcast, guys. Keep up the good work. What do you guys think about the comments made by Simon Dool on Dinesh Chandimal? This is the comment Simon Dool has made 60 matches. Dinesh Chandimal, that's 60 with an average of 20 and a strike rate of 104. Sorry, you aren't making it to a T20 side with that. Not when you had 60 goals at it and you bat in the top four time and time again. Do you want to go or
well,
you want me to go first?
oof, it's honest and raw feedback.
Yeah.
Chandi's point of view, I'm sure he's not probably happy about the role. He would have wanted to. I mean, everyone tries to perform and get the
Mm,
results, because that's something we always reflect on. I know we say it's not always about the runs or stats, but we do look at that. So if someone says, "Nah, I'm not too fussed about what scores I'm doing," nah, I don't agree with that. You do look back at that results. I mean, it's a glaring reflection of the games he's played and especially the strike rates that are showing.
mm,
It's not the best, but probably he's been out of the team in the last 2 years or so in, I think, maybe T20 cricket, definitely. But he pushed himself for selections by scoring runs in the tournaments that have been leading up to it. That is the domestic T20 tournaments that was just held in that. So in the lead up to it, he was the guy who was putting the scores up, and being a wicket keeper, he just edged everyone else. And from the media interviews that has been held, he appears to be have been the batsman who looks in better nick than the rest. So
mm,
I know it's a reflection of, it's talked about Chandimal as a batsman, but we have to look at the wider picture. Okay, take him out. Who else is there to fill that role? So maybe at this stage or in the lead up to it, no one was putting the scores in.
mm,
Because I know there was a practice game that was played, and I've heard that he scored a 480 odd runs of number of balls. So he would have looked good, and the team would have backed in. This is what we have at this stage from this crop of players. Let's give him a go first up. But they're quick to make the changes as well. They didn't make the runs, and he had to give way. But not the best record to look at with that.
no, no. Well, I agree with Simon Dool, Bora. I don't see him playing T20 cricket after this World Cup. As you said, like there was a spot to be taken, and he did what he had to do, got the runs, and make it to the squad. But as Simon Dool said, time and time again, and it's not enough. So World Cups are a very good opportunity to reset going forward. Because T20 World Cups happen every 2 years now, so going ahead, I think we'll have to look into other options.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. I think the suspensions, I mean, we forget. I mean, the good thing is we don't go back to the three guys who suspended, because we are in a good bit. Like, we've managed to overcome that hurdle.
Mm,
Players will filter through the systems if we are not performing. I think from a system point of view, they've got to look back and see where things went wrong. Like, if Simon Dulce in 60 matches, not having the results, what could the management setups done better to see, okay, where could we have adjusted and maybe gotten on top of it. That's the honest opinion we have, and very rightly so. If an outsider commentator is confident to talk about it with the games, it's a glaring reflection, and pretty good question raised by Rajiv on that aspect. It's a conversation we unfortunately have to have. It's that honest conversation.
Keep sending these comments and questions. We love hearing from you, and we love to talk about these topics. You want to do another one, Bora?
Yeah, this is from Dasun, who sent in.
Doesn't Shanaka?
Oh, you never know.
Good on you, mate. Good on you.
No, this is asking about the left arm spinner. So I'll read out the question. It's like, with Mahesh Tikshana's injuries, or we hear in the media that he might not be fit, would it be a good opportunity for us to explore the left arm spin option of Praveen Jayavikrama? Praveen Jayavikrama is outside the 15 group squad. If they would have been tempted to see if they can get someone in, I mean, if those are always thoughts, but the question is, that means they'll have to rule out Mahesh Tikshana from the tournament. So they wouldn't want to risk it. They want to give himself as much time to recover, keep him in the squad. And the way things are, the team in the camp news is they're fairly confident that he'll be up for the next game. So that's one reason why Praveen is not in the 11. But if he was in this 50-man squad, I think he would have played this game.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. If I am Dasun Shanaka, not Dasun the listener, I'll keep Tikshana, even if he's getting fit. If he's not ready to go yet, I'll keep him in the squad for another week till we have no chance of making, if that's the case. But as you said, if we had Jayavikram in the squad, we would have definitely walked into the side. But it is what it is.
Touching base on that, Vida, I remember, I think when we were covering the IPL games, you said a half-fit Andre Russell,
yes,
you'll have him.
Yeah.
The same applies for Mahesh at this stage for the Sri Lankan camp, because we are not worried about the batting side of him. So if he can give us that 4 overs in, and he can field at short third or ball, and yeah. Hopefully ICC is not listening. But if we can do manage him during games, even if it is to an extent like that, we've still got to manage him and play him, because he'll field short third to short third, and that's not hard. 20 over game. But I'm sure they'll be assessing those. I mean, touching base on Ajantha Mendis, right? We've seen he's the mentor, or he's more personal coach for Mahesh Tikshana, like a modern professional sportsman's personal coach. It's more becoming a common norm now. Mahesh's personal coach, or that trainer or mentee looks up, is Ajantha Mendis. And they would have their discussions over time about how best can we plan for the next games. But a big change I've noticed in Mahesh Tikshana's bowling is he seems to be on to the stumps a lot more. Whereas I think when he played South Africa in the one-day series, he started outside off, trying to
we talked
get
about it. He was giving a lot more room outside the off stump, and
so now he seems to be nailed on that off stump, which the ball you just need it slightly deviating both ways, which he does at the moment, which is creating that issue. And he has more coverage with the outfielders, because 2 guys only allowed out in the field. He's making use of them if needed. So he's corrected that. Also, it's just with Ajantha Mendis, we're heading into teams Ajantha Mendis has done well against as well. So when he was playing his cricket. So he'll definitely be able to touch base more and pass on that knowledge to Mahesh. The other side of, history doesn't repeat, but it does. So Ajantha Mendis' best captain when Ajantha Mendis was playing was Mahela Javadar. And he's coming back into the camp in a leadership role, which he knows how to handle them. He's probably having more chats to him, this is how the fields are set to you, this is how I want you to bowl. So those are the ones that are working well for us at this moment. When we have a strong leadership or a strong leader at the top, the rest of the support crew around them can work freely. So when now there is that settled leadership structure, we see the rest of the staff, support staff, working through, they know what they need to do to support that structure. I think I touched base in one of the programs where I said it's not only for the players, it's for the management or the coaching crew as well. Because Mahela would come and expect guys to work in their departments and bring about the results. So we are seeing those results in the bowling, and we are seeing to a certain extent what the batting plans are coming through. So I love listening to the press conferences or interviews that are being held out by
A bit different now, isn't it?
keywords coming out,
Yes.
changes in the way we touching base in the media, talking about. The good thing is, if you notice, we are not giving away a lot of match plans in the media circuits. We're holding it back. We're not giving much out, which is like the game against Bangladesh. I know we knew Mahesh was iffy, but no one ruled him out. It wasn't, it didn't come out. He was there in the national anthem, he was in the camp. So the Bangladesh coaching to the players would have been coming in and, putting their head out and saying, is Mahesh warming up? Is he played? Yeah. So just keeping that, unknown bit, and just right at the toss should have said, nah, he's not playing. So those are little games you got to play just to keep that, bit unsettled or have that advantage for us going. So that's what I'm seeing as little changes in what we are hearing and seeing with this World Cup coverage.
It's all good things, Bora. It's all good.
One thing for us, I think we talked about batting, bowling, fielding could improve, especially when the heat is on, which that will come about because we've got key players fielding in good spots now. So, and more coverage when it comes. You see Dushmant Chamir is fielding at long off, long on, whereas sometime back he would have been at short fine leg or at deep point.
Makes sense. He's the tallest guy in the squad. So in the last few overs, he's got a better chance of catching something going over your head rather than having Asalanka or someone there, isn't it?
Yeah, true. So those could be. He pulled off a few runouts as well. So he's confident in his fielding. What I'd like to see with Dushmant more is the change of pace with the lens. I think their change of pace with the lens are allowing the batsman to get ahead. His change of pace is good. It's just if you can break the lens a bit more, would be ideal.
I'm gonna go one game at a time too, Bora. I'm not gonna think about other games. I'm gonna worry about the next couple of games, and we'll see where we're gonna go from there. Before we wrap up, I just saw something on news. Ben Stokes gonna come and join the Ashes touring party to Australia. They're bringing out a good team now when you need a good all-rounder in Australia. So they got Ben Stokes in their team.
What do you reckon? It's good to see Ben Stokes coming in number one, but now with the restrictions easing up that has been announced, would the Barmy Army travel out here now?
Oh, so how good.
It'll be good with double wax travelers being allowed from the 1st of November. So it'll be interesting to see in Victoria or MCG for the Boxing Day. They're trying to make that the marquee event where we announced that we're out of lockdown in front of, the best result would be to have a sellout MCG crowd.
They're talking about 80,000.
Yeah. So, but massive possibility of that happening because everyone wants to be out there, and it's setting up for, if it goes that way, it's just going to be a good series. Ben Stokes coming in adds that bit of flavor that is needed because he is a massive figure for English cricket. Because we've kicked off only 2 games so far, or 4, in Sri Lanka's group, just 2. So 4 overall, 2 either side. Strong favorites
Oh,
or any team that you're backing?
too early to tell. You put me on the spot.
So make it easy for if you were to pick 4 teams to make it to the finals or
okay.
the knockouts. What are the 4 teams?
All right. I'm gonna go with England, Sri Lanka,
All right.
India, Pakistan. After that, don't ask me.
Yeah. I'm just giving a bit of thought myself as well. I reckon England, Sri Lanka safe. I mean, we've got to go for Sri Lanka the way we are playing at the moment. And Pakistan, New Zealand, maybe.
Oh, India gonna lose against New Zealand. Oh, big call. Big call, bro. They're like
So
the
just a toss
Tigers
up.
at the
Just
moment.
wanna, yeah, early part they've lost the. I don't know. They've got. I don't know. They might come back, but we'll see how the tournament spins up.
Okay, now we'll know in a week's time. Let's wrap up. I mean, we'll try to do a short pod after every Sri Lanka game. If you're keen, Bora, what do you say?
Yeah, might as well. We love watching the game. Have a quick summary of what we thought about the game was going. So just I mean, areas we could have improved, something we've seen as players that
Yeah.
we would like to chat about. So anyone who's a keen follower of the game might hear a different side of it or might understand why certain decisions were made or why what happened, to have a key understanding.
Let us know what you think. Find us in our socials or send us an email. We'll add all the links in our show note. Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.